The night sky above the small human outpost on Peril 3 was quiet, calm, and full of stars. Ethan Hale, a simple repair worker, enjoyed nights like this. He liked the soft hum of the wind, the smell of warm dust, and the peace that came when most people were asleep. He was not a soldier, not a hero, and not someone who expected anything big from life. He fixed lights, pipes, and broken doors. That was more than enough for him. Ethan walked back to his tiny home after a long shift. He was tired and ready to fall into bed. But as he reached his door, the night exploded. A burning streak tore across the sky, bright, loud, and shaking the ground. It was a shuttle, small, silver, and spinning wildly as flames wrapped around its tail. It was headed straight for the valley behind the outpost. Ethan froze only for a second. Then he ran. He didn't know who was in that shuttle. He didn't know if it belonged to humans, traders, or one of the alien clans that lived across Peril 3. He only knew someone inside needed help. The crash was violent. Fire lit the valley like sunrise. The air smelled of smoke and hot metal. Ethan covered his mouth with his sleeve and ran closer. The shuttle's side had cracked open. Sparks shot out in sharp bursts. Inside, he heard a cry, a small, frightened cry. A child. Without thinking, Ethan climbed through the broken shell. The heat hit him like a wall. Flames crawled up the walls, and the smoke was thick. He pushed deeper inside until he found her. A small alien girl, no older than 6. Her skin was pale blue, and her eyes glowed silver. She had thin markings across her cheeks and wore a small robe with a royal crest. Ethan didn't know much about alien symbols, but he had seen that crest in a book before. She was Varelian. And not just any Varelian, someone from the royal line. The girl coughed, choking on the smoke. Ethan pulled his jacket off and wrapped her in it. "It's okay," he said softly. "I've got you. You're safe." Her tiny hand held his shirt with fear. The ceiling groaned. Parts of the shuttle began to fall. Ethan held the girl close and pushed through the burning path he came in through. He felt heat burn his back and sparks hit his arms, but he kept running. Just before the shuttle collapsed, he leaped out with the child in his arms. Moments later, the shuttle was swallowed by flames. The girl trembled, but she was alive. Ethan gently set her down and checked for wounds. She had some bruises, but nothing worse. "You saved me," she whispered in a soft voice that echoed like a bell. "I'm glad you're okay," he said. She tried to stand, but her legs shook. Ethan picked her up again. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lyra," she whispered. That was when a deep roar rumbled across the valley. Ships, dark, sharp, and carrying the markings of the Varelian Royal Guard, swooped down from the sky. Ethan swallowed. He had just saved an alien princess. He had no idea what that meant. In minutes, the valley was filled with armored Varelian guards. Their armor glowed blue, their eyes sharp and worried. When they saw Lyra in Ethan's arms, they rushed forward, but stopped when she raised a small hand. "He saved me," she said. Her voice, though small, made every guard bow. Ethan stood still, unsure if he should run or salute or do nothing. Before he decided, the air shimmered. A tall figure stepped out from a hovering ship, Queen Saraline of Varelia. Her presence was calm, yet powerful. She wore white and silver armor that seemed to move like light. Her hair floated as if underwater, and her eyes glowed with the same silver light as Lyra's. When she saw the child, her face broke, pure fear melting into relief. She ran to Lyra and held her tightly. "My star child, I thought I lost you." Lyra pointed at Ethan again. "He pulled me out. He kept me safe." The queen turned. Her eyes met Ethan's. He felt as if the whole galaxy stared through him. "You saved my daughter," she said. "A simple human, with no armor, no weapon, and no fear." Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. "Anyone would have." "No," the queen said softly. "Few would step into fire for another species. Fewer for a royal child of a world not their own." Before Ethan could answer, he collapsed. The smoke, the heat, the run, it all hit him at once. The last thing he saw was the queen reaching for him. Everything faded. Ethan woke slowly. He expected to find himself in the small outpost clinic, but instead, he lay on a soft bed made of glowing fabric. A strange scent, sweet and calming, filled the air. The walls were curved and shone with soft blue light. Floating crystals moved like tiny stars along the ceiling. He was not in the outpost. He was inside the Varelian royal palace. He tried to sit up, but a gentle voice stopped him. "Do not rise too fast. Your body is healing." Ethan looked up and saw a tall healer with shimmering robes. "How long was I out?" he asked. 2 days, the healer said. "The smoke harmed your lungs, but our medicine has restored you. You will feel tired but safe." Safe. The word made Ethan breathe easier. The door slid open. Lyra walked in, smiling wide. She ran to Ethan and hugged him. "You woke up," she said excitedly. "I waited every day." Ethan laughed softly. "I'm glad you're okay, Lyra." Behind her, Queen Saraline entered. This time, she did not look like a distant ruler. She looked like a mother who had cried, feared, and finally found hope again. "I am glad to see you awake," she said gently. "You saved the most precious life in my kingdom." Ethan shook his head. "I only did what anyone would do." The queen knelt beside the bed. "No," she said. "What you did was brave beyond measure." She touched a small device on the wall. A soft bell rang through the palace. "It is time." "Time for what?" Ethan asked. The queen stood. "For your honor." Before he could ask more, guards arrived. They guided him through shining halls filled with glowing fountains and floating platforms. Lyra stayed by his side the whole time, holding his hand. The palace opened into a giant hall filled with thousands of Varelians. All eyes turned to Ethan. He felt small, completely unprepared, and very out of place. At the center of the hall stood a large stone with old markings. The queen motioned for him to step forward. Ethan swallowed hard. "I think there's been a mistake. I'm just a repair worker. I'm not royal. I'm not." The queen raised her hand. "You saved a child who is not your own. You stepped into danger with no promise of reward. You did what true knights do." She lifted a silver staff. Its tip glowed like a small star. "Kneel," she said. Ethan hesitated only a second before kneeling. The hall became silent. The queen touched the glowing staff to his shoulders and then his head. "By the rights of Varelia, by the honor of the crown, and by the courage shown in fire, I name you Sir Ethan Hale, Knight of the Silver Flame." The crowd erupted in cheers. Ethan blinked in shock. "A knight? Him?" Lyra hugged him proudly. "You're my hero," she whispered. Ending. Life changed overnight. Ethan was given a small home inside the palace grounds, with a garden full of glowing flowers. He was given armor, not for war, but as a symbol of honor. He was given a role, too, guardian of the young. His duty was simple yet meaningful: help protect and guide the children of the palace. He taught them small things: how to fix tools, how to stay calm in danger, and how even the smallest person could do brave things. Lyra followed him everywhere. She loved visiting the gardens with him, learning human jokes, and playing games he remembered from childhood. The queen smiled every time she saw her daughter laugh again. But one morning, the queen called Ethan to a balcony. "A knight's duty is not only to guard," she said. "It is to inspire." Ethan looked over the city. Verelia was beautiful. Towers of light, bridges that floated, and ships drifting through the sky. "I never wanted to be anything special," he said quietly. "That is why you are," the queen replied. For many months, peace filled the kingdom. Ethan grew to love the people, their kindness, and their way of life. And the people loved him back, human and alien together. One evening, Lyra sat beside him on the palace steps. "Ethan," she asked. "Yes." "Why did you save me? You didn't know who I was." Ethan smiled softly. "Because you were a child who needed help. That's all that mattered." Lyra leaned her head against his arm. "I'm glad you were there." "So am I," he said. He watched the stars, the same stars he had seen the night the shuttle fell. He had gone from a simple worker to a knight, not because he sought glory, but because he had followed his heart. Sometimes greatness is not found in grand battles. Sometimes it is found in a single moment of courage, a single choice to help. And so, on the world of Verelia, that simple choice made a human man a legend, a hero, a knight, and forever, a friend to a little girl he had carried out of fire.